Hello, Math Humans. We're going to do 5.4 today. We're going to be talking about savings plans. Our objectives are that we're going to manage savings plans. So a savings plan has advantages over other types of finances, like by financing something and paying interest, because now you don't have to pay interest on the amount of money that you're borrowing or on a big ticket item. And so we have this lovely little formula, the F, which is the future value of our money. I'm going to put future value. Payment is going to be this portion. And it looks like it's a really scary formula, but we're going to be doing all of this in our calculator, so not to worry. All right, R is still going to be the interest rate, because sometimes when we save money, we can still earn interest. And remember that it's going to be in a decimal. And then N is going to be how often we make payments or how often we put money into an account to save. So how many payments per year. T is always going to be time, and it represents years most of the time. Okay? All right, so though the formula looks really crazy, it's really not. And we're going to, again, do all of this work in our calculator. So the future value of money is equal to the payment, or maybe how much I'm putting into the bank each month. And then plus this part is the compound interest minus 1 divided by R divided by N. So let's just move in and do our first example. So Enrique is going to decide to save for a big vacation by depositing $100 every month into an account that earns 4% per year. How much money will Enrique have at the end of 2 years? So let's write down our formula. So F is equal to the payment times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT minus 1 over R divided by N. So this formula looks scary, but it's really not. So we're wanting to find our future value. The 100 is going to be the payment. The 4% per year is going to be our R, so 0.04. And then he's saving every month, so N is going to equal 12. So now we're just going to put all that information into our formula. So here's the $100, and then times 1 plus the 0.04 divided by 12, raised to the 12 times 2 because he wants to do his money for 2 years, subtract 1, and then it's going to be 0.04 divided by 12. Now this is just a little bit tricky to put into our calculator, so I'm going to walk you through that process now. It's super important that you're really careful with your parentheses. So I'm going to put in our 100. I'm going to put in 2 parentheses because I want it. The first one is this big parentheses. The second one is for the compound interest part of the problem. So 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 2, and then subtract 1, close parentheses, and then I'm going to divide by parentheses 0.04 divided by 12. Because the calculator portion is a little bit entertaining, I would recommend that you do it at least twice to make sure that you get the same answer both times. I'm not going to do that because I've already done the problem, and so I know whether or not I've done it well. So the future value of Enrique's money in 2 years is going to be $2494.29. So again, the formula looks a little scary, but all we're going to do is manage that formula in our calculator. So now I'm going to move on to the next example, this time, and I have my camera zoomed in a little bit so you can see my calculator a little bit better. Sarah has $300 a month that she can deposit into an account earning 6.8% APR, which is annual percentage rate. How long will it take for her to save up the $10,000 that she needs? So in this one, we're going to use the same formula times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT minus 1 over R divided by N. So in this one, we're actually going to solve for T, but we're not going to have to do the algebra. We're going to do it graphically. Okay? So we're going to substitute in our numbers. She wants to earn $300 a month, so that's going to be the payment. She can deposit every month, so N is equal to 12. Her R is going to be 0.068, and then this is going to be the future value of her money. So let's put all that information into our formula. So here's the 10,000. It's going to equal the 300 times 1 plus 0.068 divided by 12 to the 12 times t minus 1 over the 0.068 divided by 12. So just like we've done in other situations where I want to solve for t, I'm going to write two different equations. I'm going to call this guy y1, and I'm going to call this guy y2. So let's put those in our handy-dandy grapher. So I'm going to put my 1, 2, 3, and then on the second one, I'm going to do 300, two parentheses, 1 plus 0.068 divided by 12, raised to the 12 times t, and then minus 1, close that parentheses, divided by parentheses, 0.068 divided by 12, and I'm going to do a zoom 0, okay? All right, my calculator's thinking, so I know I'm going to have to sketch the graph. Okay, so there's the $10,000, so this is Y1, and then here comes the second one. So it is an exponential function, it's just growing really slowly. And this is Y2, and then I'm going to find that point of intersection. So second, calculate 5 for intersect. I'm going to get close, enter, 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 and it tells me that x is equal to 2.552, and so I'm going to write that my time is equal to 2.552 years. And remember, I can have a decimal of a year. That's okay. So not to worry. All right, so now we're going to take this formula, the future value of our money, and we're going to rearrange it so that we can solve for payments. So when you rearrange the formula, it's going to be F times, this goes to the numerator, and again, we're not going to have to solve this algebraically, we're just going to manage it with our calculator, raised to the n, t, and then minus 1. So this is going to be the payment. So if I know the future value, so maybe the amount of money that I'm trying to get to, and I can figure out what my monthly payments should be. So as we get ready to manage this chapter, this will be a formula that you need to know. All right, so now let's do example number 3. Cho wants to buy an RV that costs $9,000. He wants to pay cash instead of financing, so that means he's going to save all the interest. So he wants to save monthly by making deposits into an account that pays 3.2% APR. What should his monthly payments be so that he can save $9,000 in 2 years? So let's go ahead and write down everything that we know. So this is going to be the future value. This is going to be our time. Okay. We got that. Our R is going to be 0.032, and we know that he wants to make monthly, so N is equal to 12. So in this one, our formula, the payment is the future value times R divided by N over 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT minus 1. So if you'll notice, we really just solved for payment, so we multiplied by the reciprocal. So now I'm going to substitute in what I know. So I know that the future value is $9,000. My R is 0.032, and I'm going to divide by 12, and then I'm going to do 1 plus the 0.032 divided by 12, raised to the 3 times 12, and then there's the minus 1. So now let's go ahead and put this in our calculator to find out what his payment needs to be. So again, you just have to be really careful with your parentheses. So as I bring out my handy-dandy calculator, and I'm going to clear, I'm going to enter the 9,000, 2, 3, two parentheses, so I'm going to do 0.032 divided by 12. Now I'm going to do divide by another parentheses and another parentheses. So again, being really careful, 1 plus 0.032 divided by 12 raised to the 3 times 12, and then minus 1, close my last parentheses and hit enter. And notice that I get that the payment that he'll be making is $238. So my payment is going to equal $238.52. So you have to be very careful with your parentheses, and then these problems are not so overwhelming. Again, to make sure that you're getting your calculator work correct, then I would make sure that you do it twice so that you can get the correct answer. So there's another way to do this type of savings. This is what I did when I was in college. I had money deducted from my paycheck every week, and I had $50 taken out of my paycheck, and I think I got paid every 2 weeks. I worked in a grocery store, and that money automatically went into a savings account, so when I got my paycheck, I never saw that money. So that was a way that I used to manage to save to be able to buy a car when I got done with college, was by putting money into a bank account that I never actually saw on my paycheck. All right, my dears, that is it for today. I will see you soon.